Hi, I'm Max Keiser. This is the Keiser Report. Where do the politicians get that money they need to run for election? It comes from trading on inside information, of course. Stacey Herbert?
Well, Max, insider trading from Congress people was not illegal until just recently after it came to light. But here's a good headline for you. Paul Ryan traded on inside information to avoid 2008 crash. Paul Ryan attended a closed meeting with congressional leaders, Bush's Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson, and Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke on September 18, 2008. The purpose of the meeting was to disclose the coming economic meltdown and beg Congress to pass legislation to help collapsing banks. Instead of doing anything to help, Ryan left the meeting, and on the very same day, Paul Ryan sold shares of stock he owned in several troubled banks and reinvested the proceeds in Goldman Sachs, a bank that the meeting had disclosed was not in trouble.
Right, this is an example of market fundamentalism. Paul Ryan, in his mind, he's thinking he's justified in breaking the law, more or less. It's legal then for Congress people to trade on inside information, or maybe it's not legal, or maybe they do a workaround, but it's clearly immoral, and it clearly disenfranchises many Americans. But he figures that it's his divine providence to do so because he is doing God's work, as so many people in Washington or Wall Street believe that they're doing. Market fundamentalism, like Al-Qaeda's kind of theocratic fundamentalism. Paul Ryan is an ideologue. He's a fundamentalist. He's a man who would break the law for his perceived greater good. That's a dangerous man.
My question to him is, Paul Ryan, what if Atlas shrugged because some jackass congressman was going to front-run him on insider trading information that he learned through privileged information? What if Atlas shrugged then?
Well, Atlas Shrugged, of course, the title of Ayn Rand's epic non-masterpiece, which is the legitimizing force in the fictional world for why people like Ryan or Alan Greenspan use this greed is good thought process to do things like trade on inside information, because after all, they might stop trading on inside information, and wouldn't that be horrible for the economy? They would shrug. They'd be like, wait a minute, I'm no longer committing fraud. What will the economy do now, Paul Ryan says, echoing Ayn Rand.
Exactly, and like in Atlas Shrugged, like, why participate in the markets when you know there are those able to trade on inside information? And it's not victimless. The victims of these crimes are the other investors in the market at the same time, because for every winner there's a loser.
Well, as Paul Moore said, 100 million people have been thrown back into poverty since the financial crisis began 5 years ago. He calls it the biggest humanitarian crisis since World War II. Clearly, those are victims, and that number is escalating sharply as a result of this financial terrorism perpetrated by Paul Ryan, the ideologue, who believes that he should break the law in the interest of the greater good.
Well,